Let's go. Oh, happy day. I think something wild's happening. I think we might have Tucker on Twitter doing his show just like he was doing on Fox. And by just like he was doing on Fox, I mean 5 days a week. We might be seeing that. I'm not sure. Today, I'm showing you episode 2 of Tucker on Twitter because Tucker's not on YouTube. And because he's not on YouTube, I want to bring it to you guys, everybody who doesn't have Twitter. Your home for Tucker is here. So stop by, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and I'll hook you up. Now, let's get into the store really quick. Just really quick, I got the Great Resist. We got the Soul Not For Sale merchandise. We got hoodies. We got t-shirts. We have all of those amazing things that you guys know and love. And if you were one of the people that purchased something, you're greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And if you're thinking about purchasing something, please take the discount code I am Coach Colin, all one word, and that'll get you 10% off. Let's get right into it. This is I'm cutting a chunk of this episode out, and I'm going to explain why after the whole episode plays. It's about a class of people that I don't think, and I think most people agree, nobody wants this class of people protected. But there are weird protections happening for these people, and I'll explain at the end. But let's get into the episode.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. Let's say you wanted to control a country. How would you start? Well, you'd want to make sure you had the complete obedience of everybody inside your borders who was authorized to use deadly force. You would start with the military and then federal law enforcement, then move your way down ultimately to agencies like the IRS. Controlling the guns would be a top priority for you if you ever wanted to go dictatorial, if you wanted to be baby doc. But let's say you had deeper ambitions. Let's say you wanted the power not simply to control people's behavior, but to control how they think, not just their bodies, but their minds, as a god would. In that case, you need to take charge of the society's taboos. A taboo is something that by popular consensus is not allowed. A taboo may not be illegal, but it doesn't need to be. Over time, social prohibitions are more powerful and more enduring than laws. Societies are defined by what they will not permit, as are famously religions. Muslims don't eat pork, neither do Orthodox Jews. Traditional Christians oppose extramarital sex. The Amish avoid electricity, and so on. American society isn't overtly religious, but it's governed by taboos, and it always has been. What's interesting is how fast our taboos are changing. This is not happening organically. What we're allowed to dislike is being dictated to us from above, sometimes by force. Until fairly recently, for example, it was taboo in this country to attack people on the basis of their race. That was the main lesson of the Second World War, we were told, again and again. The one thing we learned from the Nazis is that it's dangerous to reduce human beings to their genetic code. There is no master race. That made sense, but apparently we no longer believe it. Punishing people based on their skin color is not only permitted in modern America, it is mandatory throughout business and government and higher education, as long as the victims are white. At one time, that would have been unimaginable. So with the current behavior of our politicians. As recently as the 1992 presidential campaign, adultery was considered disqualifying for anyone seeking higher office. Bill Clinton was very nearly derailed in the New Hampshire primary by his affair with Jennifer Flowers. Clinton went to elaborate lengths to lie about the relationship because he had no choice. But he was the last presidential candidate who had to meet this standard. By 2008, it was obvious to anybody who was paying attention that Barack Obama had a strange and highly creepy personal life. Yet nobody ever asked him about it. By that point, a leader's behavior within his own marriage, the core relationship of his life, had been declared irrelevant. It was Barack Obama's business, not yours. One by one, with increasing speed, our old taboos have been struck down. Those that remain have lost their moral force. Stealing, flaunting your wealth, striking women, smoking marijuana on the street, shameless public hypocrisy, taking other people's money for not working. All of these things used to be considered unacceptable in America, not anymore. So it probably shouldn't surprise us that the
So let's get into why I have to cut this chunk out. This is very odd. See, now, what he's about to talk about is people who are interested in children, and I can't say the actual word. It's very odd because Instagram recently has had a community of these people flourish, and they don't seem to be doing much about it. That is what Tucker is about to touch on. That's why he's talking about taboos, because that is the ultimate taboo. He goes on to talk about how, speaking with a child about anything, within the adult realm would be something that would get you hurt by a parent, and I think that's even today. And how things are starting to change because, again, Instagram has this weird thing going on. Very odd hashtags. Hashtag that I'm not even going to say and that I haven't looked up because I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want it on my search and I don't want it on my conscience. For some reason, if I talk about this, if I just talk about it rawly, my video will get looked at improperly. But somehow these people are on social media and they're becoming this protected class of people. Now, it's not to the extent of somebody who's black or somebody who has certain sexual preferences in terms of the homosexuality or pansexual or anything, or even transgender, nothing like that. It's very odd. It's very, very odd that if I talk about it too much, my video gets flagged. My video gets taken down. The only reason Tucker's able to talk about this is because he's doing his show on Twitter, one of the great parts of Twitter. That's why Twitter is so great. But that was the reason why I had to cut this part out, because on this platform, I can't even talk about it in a sense of, talking about how terrible those people are. It's very, very odd. It's very, very, very odd. And it kind of illustrates his point where this taboo is almost to an extent being embraced. Again, I bring up being protected because they would take my video down, silence me, but yet other platforms, almost all the platforms, are okay with these people in certain respects. And again, when it comes to Instagram and what they have going on, you can look that up if you want to. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to pull anything like that up or show anything like that. And I do apologize because I know, you guys want the full story of everything. But basically, what Tucker's talking about in this part of the video is that the taboo of people being a little more than interested in children is becoming embraced, and it's becoming okay. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. So let's move on. Oh no, I gotta go back. You'll hear him say it once. It's okay.
Clear last month.
To stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out.
I guess I have to make it very clear in this part of the clip. He's talking about how the FBI was looking into, they had 11 things going on, and 10 of them were looking into J6 as opposed to looking into what's going on Instagram and locking those people up, because it's literally a community of these disgusting men that are communicating with each other and possibly sending certain images and videos to each other. So he's talking about how they were looking into white supremacy more so than those people, and how ridiculous that is. And then Tucker's talking about how it is the most important thing to look into, white supremacy, most important. And now he's using Joe Biden as an example of that, because, even Joe Biden's more focused on white supremacy than, evil people who are doing terrible, disgusting things.
Clear last month.
To stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. And I'm not saying this because I'm at a black HBCU. I say it wherever I go.
Pardon the feedback, but you heard the point. White supremacy is the most dangerous threat to the American homeland. Joe Biden just told us that. It's more dangerous than the threat of nuclear war with Russia. It's more dangerous than the threat of the Mexican drug cartels, who've already killed hundreds of thousands of Americans and are now in control of swaths of our southwestern states. White supremacy is that bad, Joe Biden says. In fact, it's worse. But what is it? That's the question. Can anyone in authority actually define white supremacy? What is it? Is white supremacy liking white people too much? If so, that's going to put those of us with white children in a pretty tough spot. Or is white supremacy something much more obviously bad, like trying to expel all non-whites from America and creating some kind of ethno-state? If that's Joe Biden's definition, what exactly is the scope of this threat? How many people are currently working on this American white ethno-state project? And what are the chances they're going to pull it off? Our guess is not very many and precisely zero. But we can't say for sure because no one has showed us the numbers. These are not rhetorical questions. When the President of the United States describes something as the worst possible crime Americans can commit, you have a right to know what that crime is. You used to have that right. Under our pre-revolutionary legal code before George Floyd, questions like these were easy to answer. A crime was defined as something that an elected legislature had explicitly banned, usually an act that hurt somebody else. In America, crimes were described precisely with words in English and then preserved in books, which you could read yourself. If you ever wondered whether you were committing a crime, you could just look it up. You could know for sure whether you were a criminal. Now you can't. And needless to say, that's the point. The point of the exercise is to keep you off balance, to keep you afraid. When no one's willing to define the offense, you can't be sure whether or not you're committing it. You could be accused at any time and everything you have taken from you. You live in fear. Remember this guy?
Emmanuel Cafferty was driving near a Black Lives Matter protest in Poway in his SDG&E truck when he says he noticed somebody following him and trying to get his attention. Later, that person posted a picture of him making what some believed is a white supremacy symbol on Twitter. Cafferty says he had no idea about any white power symbols and was just cracking his knuckles outside his window when the picture was taken of him. Later that day, he says he was notified by SDG&E that he would be suspended pending an investigation, and a few days later, he was fired.
What that man did was so offensive, as you just saw, that local news had to blur the photograph of his hand. He was fired from his job. His life was destroyed for cracking his knuckles. He didn't know cracking his knuckles was racist, in his defense, but then nobody did until the day that poor Emmanuel Cafferty was unwise enough to crack them. When a crime has no definition, anyone can be guilty of it. It's hard to relax in a country like that. The old system was better. Government operated on the basis of laws, not amorphous moral terror. Politicians couldn't accuse you of something they couldn't define. The legal code was straightforward. Child molestation was a crime. Having unfashionable opinions was not. Outside of the public sphere, the population mostly governed itself, as it does in every society, and used taboos to do it. You knew what was allowed and what wasn't because the rules didn't change very often. The taboos were organic. They derived from collective experience and instinct, the two most reliable guides to life. They evolved for a reason. They still do. Our job at this point is to protect them, despite the hectoring, the nonstop hectoring from the people in charge. You know the outlines of right and wrong. You're born knowing them. So don't let them talk you out of what you can smell. Don't let them rationalize away your intuitive moral sense. Cling to your taboos like your life depends on them, because it does. Cherish and protect them like family heirlooms. That's exactly what they are.
You'll hear people say that.
Wow. So you know what that reminds me of, what he said at the end. A friend of mine, we were talking about what words mean and how it's changed and how they keep changing certain parts of history. And he was dead serious. He was like, He's like, make sure you buy an old dictionary. He's like, buy a very old dictionary as soon as you possibly can. He's like, and keep it with you. He's like, because you're going to need it, because they're going to change the meaning of words. They're going to take certain words out eventually. They're going to add certain words in. And that's in the realm of what Tucker's talking about there. You need to hold on to your taboos. And it's not hold on to your taboos. In another way you can say it, hold on to what you know to be right and wrong. Hold on to what you know integrity to mean. Hold on to what you know respect to mean. Hold on to what you know violence to mean. I can remember when violence was just hitting someone. Now there's this school of thought where violence is the way you look at someone, what you say to somebody, what you post on your Instagram or Twitter. That's now considered violence by a I don't want to say a large group of people, but enough people that I know that to be a thing now. And that's something that we all need to look out for. We do really need to remember what's right and what's wrong, what's acceptable and what's not. Like even right now, as you look at like religion being mocked, there's a kid growing up right now. If things persist the way they're going, there's kids growing up right now. They're going to know that, mocking religion is fine. They're going to know that, drag story time is a great thing. Whereas, older people know that some things are done only behind closed doors and for adults only. And also, you don't mock someone's religion. You don't make fun of people's religion. You don't pick it apart. You don't act like it's nothing. You hold those things with reverence. And we have the word reverence. Maybe that word will disappear one day. As words disappear, what they meant and what they upheld disappears as well. So, anyway, I just wanted to give that to you guys. If you don't have Twitter, I know some of you are just like, I'm not getting on Twitter. I don't like Elon. He wants to put chips in people's brains, and I completely understand. But as who I am and what I do, I have to be on every single platform. So I will bring it to you as they come out. That was episode 2. It's called Cling to Your Taboos by Tucker Carlson on the show Tucker on Twitter. And other than that, like, share, please. Like and share. It helps so much. It's just one click. It's just like right down there. You just got to just press the like button. It helps so much. You have no idea. And if you liked it, share it with one of your friends. Just please. It helps so much. You have no idea. Anyway, other than that, I am out.